Hello. I feel like that was really bad.
And
now we're here?
We are now here, and we are back. And we are back to being on location at the BeerSauce shop for our first ever pop culture comic pod version of the podcast on a remote somewhere.
And first ever one of those that has a woman in it.
Yeah, it is the first time a girl's ever been on the comic book
You really
version.
won't hear me talk much about this.
Well,
You've watched the movies, right?
We'll get to that
I've
here in a
watched
little
a
bit.
movie.
We'll get to that here in a little bit. But the reason we are out for the BeerSauce shop is this month, this year marks the 25th anniversary of one of the best independent comics, one of the best Dark Horse comics, if not one of the greatest comic characters and universes ever created. And Hellboy, Seed of Destruction, came out 25 years ago. And it's actually the anniversary of that because he actually debuted in Dark Horse Comic Presents before that.
Okay.
So it's the debut of his own comic. Yeah. It's the anniversary of his own comic. And for that, Gigantic Brewing Company up in Portland collaborated with Mignola and Dark Horse to release a series of Hellboy-inspired beers. Now, it's not the first time that they've had Hellboy-inspired beers. 4 years ago.
Was it
his 21st birthday.
Oh, that's right.
So when he could legally drink.
Yeah. So we got it, and it tasted, and that one wasn't from Gigantic. And it was good.
It tasted like our beer.
It tasted like the first beer we ever brewed together.
First and only beer we've ever brewed together.
But
we should probably do that again.
Since we didn't do it, we think that one was better than ours.
Yeah. But, slightly.
But this one, though, this is a series of beers starting today with a maple milk stout, a pancake maple milk stout, because pancakes and syrup was his favorite food.
Yeah. That does not sound appealing to me.
Oh, it sounds amazing to me.
I think I'm going to enjoy it.
Me too. And it was the one I was most looking forward to. So there's 6 coming out.
Yeah.
But the first one, which I was hoping would kind of be I was hoping we were getting all these together, and that was going to be the last one I tasted.
It was really hard to decipher when they're releasing all of them, but I think it's they're not releasing them all at once.
No, they're not.
I was hoping to be
Absolutely
a box.
not. Yeah, I was wanting that too.
Yeah.
And actually, on the website for Gigantic Brewing Company, it actually said, due to different companies distributing it across the country, you'll have to look, and then they gave you all the country. Luckily for here, Craft Republic, friends of the show, been on the show, and are really good friends with the BeerSauce shop. They made sure Andrew got some. And I feel like, and Andrew's not here to defend this or agree with this, but I feel like it was my urging and pushing Andrew that made sure he got this beer because it was a very limited release here in this.
Oh, yeah. I think they only had like 12 cases.
12 cases for the metro area. So, and we even tweeted that, or Facebooked that we were going to go out and
to Apotheos Comics.
Yeah, Apotheos Comics.
Couldn't make it this morning, but I'm going to go tomorrow and get mine.
Yeah, something happened with our live feed. It went dead.
Sorry, people.
Yeah, well, I'm going to put it right back up.
Yeah,
but
I feel bad for them. They can't see me.
Yeah, and you got to see Bender. But so anyway, that's why we're out here today. And talking about Hellboy is why we're making this a comic cat podcast instead of the regular podcast. And I feel like before we really get into like our thoughts, I feel like we should give it to our expert on all things Hellboy, and that's the Flop.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
What do you know about Hellboy?
Well, as previously mentioned, he was a comic made into a movie.
Yep.
That's
Who
it.
played him in the movie?
Ron
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, you're right there.
Perlman.
That's it.
Yeah.
I was going to go with Swanson. That was what was stuck in my head.
Not even a real character.
Yeah.
No. But hold on. He's red.
Yep.
He's huge.
He is
He
huge.
has broken horns.
Yep.
He shaves them down, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
whatever.
yeah, but they're
breaks
cut.
them off,
He is sarcastic.
Yeah,
And
I'll give you that.
somehow, with as ugly as he is, he gets hot chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Selma Blair in
Yeah.
the first film. Yeah. Liz Sherman.
Yep.
That's it.
And that's pretty much the extent.
Well,
That's pretty accurate.
yeah, that's pretty accurate. I guess one of the things that I think of when I think of Hellboy is, other than it is a terrific story, and we're going to get in more into the story Seed of Destruction and some of the things about the film that I didn't like of the originals.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I think of is the art style.
Oh, yeah.
And when I think of Mike Mignola, he is one of the handful of artists that I think, growing up, represents comic books to me.
Yeah.
He's always had that great, unique style. He's always had it. I mean, it was he was his own. I mean, he was a visionary.
Yeah.
And whether he was doing covers for the Incredible Hulk, whether he was doing Batman, whether he was doing Wolverine, everything he did was him.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like Jim Lee, a lot of guys tried to copy it. You've had very few people, and there's a handful that copied Mike Mignola for a long time. And he was kind of like when Image went and everybody left Marvel and DC and went and founded Image, he was this quiet superstar that just slowly migrated over to Dark Horse and decided, like, you know, I appreciate what all these guys are doing, but I've got my own idea. And he created the Mignolaverse, which is arguably one of the top 3 or 4 comic universes ever created. And that's going head-to-head with DC and Marvels.
Yeah, BPRD and all the extra characters that have come out.
Sapien,
Liz Sherman, Lobster Johnson.
Yeah, just...
please tell me about Lobster Johnson in one sentence.
Well, he's not a lobster.
No.
Not at all.
Okay,
But he does have a claw hand.
He does have a claw hand, but...
just one claw hand.
Just one.
Weird.
What's the homunculus? What's his name? I can't remember his name. It's been a while since I was thinking about this today. It's probably been 15 years since I've read Hellboy: Seed of Destruction.
Really?
Yeah.
I read it about once every 2 or 3 years. I just finished it up last night for the first time. Well, this year. It's early in this year.
Well, before we jump into the story, then what do you think about when you think of Hellboy?
Same thing. His art is iconic. The simple, like, caveman look of Hellboy and all the other characters in it. I like how minimalist his work is. And his ability to draw expressions and anger in a character with, like, very little line work, and, you know, he basically relies on colors, like dark backgrounds.
Yeah, negative space and black.
Thank you. I'm not the artist.
That's
I was
all right.
looking for that.
He uses that to frame every picture. His splash pages and his they're unbelievably good because they're not the kind of dynamic that you expect from comic books. They're more, for I guess lack of a better word, they're very more arts, and I mean it's a painting for him, but he's just using pen and pencil.
And I guess Hellboy's sarcasm, like his ability to just walk into a room and just be surly and angry. I love that because, like, deep down inside, I'm kind of surly and angry, and I just relate to the character.
Way deep down inside. That's way deep. That's more Tommy. Tommy's the surly and angry.
Yes, my wife. She'd probably agree.
He joined the feed right now too. I
don't
know if he's still here.
He's not coming up, I guess.
I guess he's not coming to
he's
drink
Thanks
beer.
for watching,
He's
buddy.
on his way, right, Tom?
Oh, look, he just logged off. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of I'd be remiss if we didn't say they're not on here yet, but I hope that our biggest live feed fans, Kelly and Jason, I hope they sign up. They're not our podcast fans. They just love the live feed because they invented a drinking game for it. And I'm going to get all their rules one day, and we're going to post them. So.
I think just the basic rules. Every time I take a drink, they take a drink.
We can play together.
Yeah, anytime I say something in particular, or anytime Bender does something, I mean, they've got rules.
Yeah.
Oh, they got multiple. I didn't.
It's a little early in the day. I'm not judging, but they'd be drunk for the rest of the day.
I was like, it's a little early in the day for what?
I don't know.
Cheers.
I don't know if their daughter has. Cheers. I don't know if their daughter has a game today, but I imagine that he's drinking soon.
Oh yeah,
it's past noon, so
that counts.
One of the things before we get into Seed of Destruction, we talked about with you brought up the movies and Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman, and for those that don't know, Hellboy's being rebooted, and it's with David. What's his last name?
Is it? I can't remember.
Well, he's Hopper from Stranger Things. Yeah. Gosh, I don't know what.
Is it Tenet?
No, that's Doctor Who.
Harbor.
Yeah. It's being rebooted with him. Jury's still out on that. The previews look good, but I agree with you. He may not be my favorite part of the previews.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I got to see it. I got to see it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the fact that Ron Perlman looks like Hellboy from the comics and David Harbour doesn't to me. He looks more demonish than I want him to.
Well, I don't know that I would say that one looks more like the comic than the other because the comic style was Mignola, and it's very hard to duplicate that.
I think Ron Perlman sort of already looks like a pit bull animal, ape type thing.
Well, did he do the voice for Beauty and the Beast? Why am I?
I think he did.
He was the original Beast in the TV show.
Series.
Yeah.
That's why. Okay, that's why I'm getting that. So he's not even good looking, really.
He looks like an actual pit bull.
Well, and I think for me, and this is not an insult to David Harbour, because I think he's unbelievably great on Stranger Things, and he's been very good in other things. But I think just watching the trailers, having not watched the movie at all because it's not out yet, my thing is not necessarily that Ron Perlman was a better Hellboy, But Ron Perlman is so just goddamn charismatic.
Yeah.
And it's hard, and he's a much bigger character than David Harbour has ever been in any movie.
At least that we know of yet.
Well,
it could change.
I mean, Ron Perlman's acting career, every character is like very. He chews scenery. He jumps off the screen. I mean, whether he's doing an easy character or not.
He plays a big man in every scene that he's in.
You guys are giving him like the Ben Affleck is Batman spin right now. Like,
you mean David No, we don't know yet. That's
just like you're like.
No, you're right. I mean, we are kind of.
It's drastically different than what you already know, and so I'm reserving judgment till I see it.
I'm going to go see it. Yeah. I'll see it in the theater.
The one thing that I will say, even about the original, the Ron Perlman's, and I guess we should also call him the Guillermo del Toro because he is visionary genius behind that. Is as much as I liked it, and they did use Seed of Destruction, which we'll talk about here in a little bit.
Yeah.
The only thing that I don't know that I've been happy with the films, even though I enjoyed them, is the source material is so good.
Yeah.
Why not just do it 100% like each book?
I was okay with the first one, but I didn't understand why they didn't like follow it into the Golden Army.
Yeah,
I thought Golden Army was fine
film,
but it was a really
an original story for the film.
It almost felt like a Pan's Labyrinth spinoff or something, as opposed to like
which
a
it came
Hellboy
out after
movie.
Pan's Labyrinth, I believe, and so he was in all because the characters looked eerily the same and stuff like that.
Like what was it? We already have most of this makeup anyways. Let's do it.
I saved a lot of money on Pan's Labyrinth. Let's use some of that budget and do Hellboy 2.
Yeah. The thing that I'm excited about in the new Hellboy, though, is they are sticking to a lot of the original stories and stuff, like the Baba Yaga's in it.
I mean, they are. Yeah, it's almost like they're picking parts of a lot of stories to make this new one.
Which I'm okay with.
And in the first Hellboy with Perlman and Del Toro, they start it pretty close, and they even use a little bit of like the graveyard scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
But they kind of a lot of different things. It's not the same story.
No,
it's inspired by.
I think the ending, and we'll talk about it more, but I think the ending in the movie ties in Hellboy's importance more. Like they made Hellboy more important in the movie than
he originally was at
original
Seed of Destruction.
Yes.
It wasn't until a later few issues you found out how important he was to humanity and Earth and reality.
Which makes sense. It makes sense. And I liked the monsters more in the movie, like the bad guys that with the tongues and stuff a little bit more than I did in the. After reading the comic, I was like, oh, they did a good job changing an already great bad guy and making him a little more interesting.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, since you read Seed of Destruction more recent than I did, and this is going to be Missy's favorite part because she knows nothing about it.
I'll just make fun of you guys.
And I'll ask you to go grab the beer for us because it looks like it's chilled or it's about ready to go. Break people down to what exactly was Seed of Destruction. And again, keep in mind that this is the 25th anniversary of that. Dark Horse Comics Presents had one or two short stories first. That's his actual first appearance.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I'm going to have to go back and reread those.
So yeah, let's break it down. Tell us about Seed of Destruction and why it's so good.
So Seed of Destruction starts off with, and I'm super bad at names, but he starts off him seeing his father for the first time.
Yeah. Because the Nazis are doing so. The whole spiel is that the Allied forces
it starts off pretty similar to the movie where Rasputin is trying to draw the powers from another old world gods.
Well, real quick, just so we know,
everybody's
favorite BeerSauce shop bartender Sean is delivering us this beer. Sean, you were on camera for a minute.
A second.
1 second, and we are going to taste this beer all together. And then we'll get back into what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so while he's pouring, I'll just keep going.
It looks like syrup.
So it starts in 1944 during World War II.
Yep.
Nazis are the bad guys. That's another reason I really like it, because Nazis are bad.
They're the best bad guys.
Yeah. So Rasputin's trying to draw down the forces of hell, or an otherworldly old god creatures to Earth.
Thank you, sir.
And everybody thinks that he fails, like Jeremy spilling his beer.
yeah, worse. The camera got that, and I'm wet, and the computer's dry. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And I think Sean's on top of it. Will you pour me a little bit more refresher?
Do you want me to put a straw with it?
Yeah. He.
Oh
anyways,
my God, the smell.
The Nazis think he fails. Turns out he doesn't fail, and a small child demon
Yeah,
shows
they bring
up.
a demon through. They were expecting to bring a full-fledged giant demon, and it's not.
But it's not. It's a little boy. So he gets adopted by a psychologist named what's his dad's name? I don't know
Dr.
his name.
Scratch and Sniff. I can't
Yeah,
remember. I don't
either
know.
way, doesn't matter. He gets adopted, and he's supposed to be the bringer of doom to Earth. And he gets adopted by the good guys, and he becomes the defender of humanity against everything that is his world, everything he was brought up. He was supposed to in the world and be this evil thing that destroys everything, and he actually ends up defending it and fighting his own kind, and that is the basis of everything that moves forward from Hellboy from there on out.
And what's funny too is they do later in a later episode, we actually find out why he becomes a good guy.
Oh yeah,
and that's what inspired this beer. It wasn't until a one shot he did on another comic or something small. He's born. They're having problems raising him and whatnot, and then someone feeds him pancakes and syrup.
Oh yeah.
And it instantly makes him good.
It makes his heart good.
It makes his heart good.
Makes him happy.
Pancakes and
I believe in the movie, if you remember the first one, they bring him a whole bunch of pancakes and syrup with all of his cats.
Yes, yeah.
It totally smells like maple syrup, and the
Dude,
color.
it smells like breakfast.
The color is like maple syrup.
Oh, that's tasty.
Yeah, I dig it. It is a. So here's what Gigantic Brewing Company, not to get off topic here. It is maple syrup pancake beer. Succumb to the pancakes. Maple syrup infused every part of this tempting breakfast beer. Give it a try. It might change your life, just like Hellboy's. 6.66% by volume. That's a 666, by the way.
That's pretty good.
This is, like I said, it's beer 1 of 6. Gigantic Brewing Company. Go to giganticbrewing.com to find out more about it. But it is brewed and bottled up there in Portland, Oregon, which is one of the beer capitals of the world.
Yeah.
Is Tom still on?
Show him
Tom laughed at me spilling beer.
A picture of
Yeah, I
that's,
did.
That's Magnola's art
Tom,
right
you're
there.
missing out on a great
in a
beer. This
nutcase.
is really tasty.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would
What
be.
I like about it is it smells so much like breakfast, and then you're expecting it to taste really sweet, and it doesn't. It tastes like a beer.
Could you drink this with pancakes, or is it too much?
No, I think I would.
Yeah, I would totally drink this.
And I lied. It's not a stout. It's not a stout.
But it's a breakfast. It's totally a breakfast.
It's a breakfast beer.
Yeah. I really want bacon right now.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. I love bacon and syrup together.
And I could see why Hellboy became a good guy. This is
it.
This is it.
This is the gateway to happiness.
That's right. So what you were saying, back to what you were saying.
Yeah, so anyways, they think he fails. Hellboy is raised by the good guys, and then it jumps into the future, or present day, 1994, and Hellboy sees his father for the first time in 2 years.
And we join them at the BPRD. It's where we first see the BPRD, their hidden facility and whatnot.
So Hellboy finds a distraught father for the first time in 2 years, and he's not making any sense. He said he went on this journey into the mountains and touched something, and that's all he remembers, and he woke up in his office. Then all of a sudden they get attacked by a giant frogman. If you've seen the Hellboy movies, it's basically the monster that Hellboy fights in the subway, and it keeps coming back. Same kind of guy. Gets attacked by him, his father dies, and then Hellboy kicks off an adventure that takes him to a mansion in, I think it East Coast somewhere. And then you get introduced to Abe Sapien, who's also in the first movie.
Yep. And portrayed by
I forget who portrays him.
Well, it's the guy that does it he's played Slender Man. He played that. He plays a lot of those very sinewy build person, and he can pull off a lot of those crazy looking roles.
What's the water movie that Guillermo del Toro did?
He was him. He was
Shape of Water.
Shape of Water. He was him.
Man, that's a weird movie.
He has made the guy, and if you see him in real life, you think, well, he doesn't need prosthetics or makeup to look weird, but he plays he just plays characters kind of like Gollum, the guy that played.
So he just looks like he's on his deathbed all the time, basically.
Yeah, well, he's a very skinny guy. That's for sure.
Yeah,
But man, Abe Sapien is so cool in those movies. He's great in the comics too.
Oh, he is. I liked him more. He's got more. At least in the beginning in the comics, he didn't have a whole lot to say. He's a lot more interesting in the. Guillermo del Toro did a good job with him with his character.
Tommy is not a syrup guy, so he wouldn't dig this, which explains why Tommy has a black heart.
So
and he's always
Tom doesn't like syrup
or
and
pancakes.
He doesn't like peanut butter either.
What?
Or pickles.
Pickles is okay, but peanut butter?
I think I just discovered a hidden Nazi cell in St. Louis. It's Tom. He's clearly a communist.
He's not an American.
But
nope.
Listen, you guys, his gateway to happiness is beer.
Serious question, though. Is peanut butter more American than apple pie at this point?
Huh.
I don't think American
American
created peanut butter.
Yeah, we did.
Though.
Yeah. It wasn't Carver, but it was someone before Carver.
I'm just saying it's more of a staple in everyone's diet than apple pie at this point, right?
If you watch, we don't. It's not a show we watch, but American Dad. But Missy sometimes when she's working from home, she watches whatever on that channel, and then it just goes into American Dad, and she doesn't change it.
Yeah.
There was an episode where they've been secretly protecting the history of the peanut because Carver did nothing, but he gets the credit, because it kept racial tensions down.
So you watched that episode because I don't remember that.
It's not a great show, but they every once in a while they get some gems.
That's a funny premise.
Yeah.
I try not to eat after 8 because I have weird dreams, but if I'm hungry, I'll just
peanut butter.
Just a scoop of peanut butter,
yep.
which I have to hide in the house
because
my brother will just eat it all.
The whole episode was National Treasure.
National Treasure.
Yeah, that's what it was. So, but back to Hellboy.
Hellboy. All right, so Hellboy's dad dies, and then so he starts the investigation, which leads him to the guys that Hellboy's father went on the journey with, which were the Cavendish brothers.
Cavendish, yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah,
so Hellboy went on a journey with two brothers. So he goes to that brother's family mansion.
Yep.
And they meet the mother and
I can't. What's her name?
Liz or something.
Yeah,
Elizabeth or something like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Ellen. Doesn't matter.
Miss Cavendish.
Yeah, Miss Cavendish. It's an old mansion that's sinking into a giant lake, and so they start their investigation there, and the butler looks just like one of the other guys that was on the expedition with his father. So right away they know something's wrong. I'm blanking.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah. This is why I don't let you run these.
I'm not great at it. I thought you'd do better.
I just didn't write it down because I didn't read it. But
so the investigation kicks off, and Liz Sherman gets kidnapped. Yep. And Abe Sapien dives into the water, and they can't find any life anywhere in the house. And so Hellboy goes to find Liz Sherman, finds the butler, who is one of the other guys that was on the expedition with his father. Turns out that he's a frogman. They fight. They end up in a basement with a giant Cthulhu-like monster.
Yeah, Cthulhu, yes. Yep.
And what's his name? Rasputin shows back up, and they fight.
And he's the big bad guy.
He's the big bad guy, and he's bringing Cthulhu back. And it turns out that his father actually touched Rasputin and woke him back up from a 50-year sleep from when Hellboy was born.
Yeah, because he was the one that was leading to
and it's
bring him through the gate.
Purely by coincidence that Hellboy's father touches Rasputin, sees Hellboy through his ability to see his father's visions, and brings Hellboy there to open up the gateway to hell and bring out these giant monsters.
Yeah, monsters that want to do some monstery demon things.
Yeah, and this is where the movie collides back in with the story.
Right, it jumps back to it.
But in the movie, Hellboy's hand, his right hand of doom, I guess we didn't really explain that either. He's got
he
a
does
right
have
hand.
A giant right hand. They don't even put that. Interestingly enough, that's not even on the.
Maybe it'll be on one of the other ones.
Yeah, might be. So
yeah, his right hand is a big stone hand. And it's the right hand of doom.
Unbreakable stone hand.
Yeah, and it's the key to unlock these monsters in the movie. But in the comic, which this is where I think the movie did a better job, in the comic they really just need Hellboy's power. And Rasputin finds Liz Sherman's ability to burn things is just equally as powerful. And he says he doesn't need Hellboy and opens up opens up the gateway to hell with...
I don't even know why you're laughing.
This is really hard.
No, we're not laughing at you.
I know we're not. I know what you're laughing at.
Well, we were told it was coming, so everybody watching just in their mind, hey, somebody in a poncho just walked by.
Yeah.
He represents a lot of Argentinian wines.
Okay.
And he's here to do a tasting for sake today.
Oh, okay.
But the woman who is the rep for it, she said, when he gets here, he's a character. You'll notice because he'll be wearing a poncho. And I'll be damned if he didn't walk by in a poncho.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell is going on? Anyways. We'll cut to the end. Liz Sherman
This is the worst wrap-up of all time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Either way, the beer's good.
The beer's good, and we'll just give a review. Just wrap it up with your thoughts on it, and then we'll give a review of it.
It is hands down one of my favorite comic book stories. It's one that I'll read every year.
I'm only half joking, giving you a hard time, because I put you on a spot, so I get it. But it is...
And it's hard. I keep looking at other people. But
it was arguably one of the couple most important properties and launches that Dark Horse ever did.
Yeah.
It'd be up there with they did really well with Star Wars, Hellboy. I mean, they had a lot of early stuff at Concrete, but that was That was what made them famous.
Yes, and it's been 25 years. It's had there's Hellboy, there's the BPRD, there's
all
these
spin-off
other
rapes,
characters.
APM.
Laughter Johnson. I forget. There's a vampire hunter guy. He's built an entire world that is every bit as interesting
and more
less
and more
confusing.
cohesive. Yeah, more.
Question.
Okay.
Than the Marvel or DC.
What is PPRD?
Bureau of
BPRD is
Paranormal Research and Development.
Okay. Paranormal, I'm in.
Yeah. So it was essentially their team that went around fighting monsters and demons and ghosts.
And one of my other favorite things is his ability to take like real historical legends and like
he really researched areas
like Norse
myths.
mythology and Greek different things, and he brings his own spin on this stuff, and it's very interesting. And you kind of dive in like the beginning of it. If you like anything Lovecraftian. You like anything with Rasputin, historical interests, stuff like that, you'll dig this. Like, it's everything you want. He's basically Indiana Jones that kicks more ass than Indiana Jones.
Well, and also, too, this would be fast-forwarding quite a bit, 23-plus years almost. He does, for those that don't know, the last Hellboy, Hellboy starring series came out, ended last year, and it was Hellboy in Hell. He died.
And it's great.
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
And there's very few words in the entire series.
No,
but it's
the
amazing.
comedy is great. Like, every time he runs into a ghost, like, it just like the goofy, there's two brother ghosts or whatever that run around with him, and just the back and forth banter of them not understanding him and him not understanding them is just, it's a real page turner.
So there's not a lot of words. What is happening? Just action?
It's action and just
he's
his
in
ability
hell.
to use negative space. And
he's telling a story with his art. Mignola writes it.
That makes sense.
And so let's just go back to Seed of Destruction. Our brand new universal untapped scale of grading things, 1 to 5.
I give it a 5.
It is
I love
a solid 5. But I tell you this, let's bring Missy back. Our universal untapped scale, we're going to check into this beer. 1 out of 5. Bender, you can start.
I'm going to give this. This is really. It kind of blows my mind between the smell and the taste. I'm going to give it a 4.5.
4.5. That's a good solid score.
I'm going to give it a 3.5 because I don't think you could really drink a lot of it because of the sweetness. But it is very tasty.
I'm going to give it a 4. And it's one of the favorite beers I've tried in a while.
Yeah.
And my plan, I've got another plan for another comic pod coming up with Jay. When all the beers are released and I get them all, I'm going to keep one of each, including the one we're going to get from tomorrow. And we're going to drink them all in one session.
Oh, that's going to be
a fun episode.
ache.
Well, there'll be 3 of us. And we don't know what the rest of them are.
Yeah.
So
some of them are sours, though, so I'm not looking forward to that.
It's going to be a good time.
But to be honest with you, when I heard maple syrup pancake beer, I had zero interest in this.
You said you were excited.
I was.
He said he was excited. I didn't think I would like this at all. I thought it was going to be much darker.
And you gave it a 4.5. That's as good as a beer as you'll ever drink.
Yeah, it looks and feels like a lager, but then it tastes. The smell it doesn't smell like it tastes until the very end. If you just like let it sit, then you start to get that sweetness. But it works really well. I think it's great.
So congratulations to Gigantic Brewing Company.
This is my first beer from these guys.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Me as well, and you won us over. So I gave it a 4. Missy gave it a 3.5, and you gave it a 4.5. So that aggregate score 4.
Yeah.
That comes right. That's a damn good beer. I've only gave like 3 5s. We definitely have plenty of time to kill.
Oh,
you guys watch Umbrella Academy yet?
Hold on, time out.
Nope.
Let me tell you my takeaways from this conversation that we just had.
Okay. She's been taking notes.
I have been taking notes.
My note is no more comic reviews on location. It's too hard.
And no more letting you just go. I need to summarize the story, as we go, like I always do. So I put us back on track.
I'm not great at that.
No, it's not your spiel.
Yeah.
I didn't save it.
Oh, no.
So
and she doesn't know how to save things. So this is an all-around great episode.
I just didn't save a note. So I do remember Weird Things, Gigantic Frog.
Yeah.
The shit, but all these are not just Hellboy. This is in all of comic book lands.
Yeah.
That's what I'm about to say. Alliteration with names.
That's
Peter Parker.
Well, that's a Marvel thing. That's definitely a Marvel thing. Yeah, J. Jonah Jameson.
Just
Peter
weird
Parker.
names in general. Lobster Johnson. What the shit? I mean, there's just some weird shit
so
in comics.
Lobster Johnson's character was from the pulpy years of the 30s and 40s, and that's why he had that name.
And that's the other thing I really like about it is, like, it's so throwback and 50s-esque. Like, even when they bring it into the modern day, it still kind of has like a
and like the giant frog and all that stuff. Most of the stuff he uses is like a plague of frogs and like is symbolism
thing.
And stuff from witchcraft and stuff that they've used.
Or like Christianity.
But
or
all
any
of comic books have weird, bad things. It's just
yeah.
Now I got a question because I haven't dived as far into like the other expanded universe of that at all. In the beginning of Seed of Destruction, when they're on the island, the good guys are on the island. They're with the Torch of Liberty. I don't remember him popping up ever again anywhere.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. He had to have.
If anybody knows, I mean, I'm sure.
Did he die?
No, he just. They don't say. The only other mention of him in Seed of Destruction is Hellboy's gun was given to him by the Torch of Liberty.
And his gun is what's his gun called? It's the.
Is it Lucille?
No, is it?
I don't remember.
I don't know. I thought it had the name.
It's got a little cross on the like he's got a little chain on it with a little cross on the end.
Yeah, I like that Missy out of our conversation about Hellboy with a
giant frogs
and connected it all to Marvel with alliteration of the name.
Yeah.
She was just thinking about all weird stuff that came from.
Well, comic books in general
Marvel's
just have weird shit.
Marvel's the biggest name in comics right now. And speaking of Marvel, that Fox Marvel deal is all but done.
Oh no, it is done.
Yeah,
they took control a couple nights ago.
Oh, did
midnight.
they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good Samaritan. That's his gun's name.
Oh yeah,
that's
the
Hellboy's gun. I think I always wanted it too. Like the prop.
Oh, it looks
so
cool.
awesome.
I think Adam, the guy from MythBusters, Adam Savage.
Adam Savage, yeah.
He made one.
Yeah,
and it looks fucking cool.
Well, and in the new movie, it's a different looking gun. They changed the look of it. Yeah, it's because the look of it in the first movie series was awesome. That's what I think of.
Yeah.
Well, because that's all we know. This is. I mean, I'm not judging this movie before
I'm gonna see it.
I
will see it, and I think I'm gonna be pleasantly surprised.
I tell you what we can do, though. We can talk about some other stuff, but we can pause. We can sample the pork and the barbecue and talk a little bit about that guy's stuff, and then we'll get us another full beer, and we will, we'll come right back.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Man, this is great.
I really like the honey taste, or like the sweetness of the original.
Their original had a little bit more of a kick, too, I thought.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I'm repositioning. Hold on.
Oh, you're good. We're live right now.
Oh,
so
hey, back at it.
Back with part 2 from the BeerSauce Shop. Part 1 was a pop culture comic pod version of what we do.
It was a really shitty one. We can skip it.
It wasn't the best in comic review, but what it was the best in terms of the beer we drank. And the reason we're out for the Hellboy beer. But, this is one of the great things, and I always feel like people think we're shilling for the BeerSauce Shop like it's a commercial. And in a way we are. But we're here today, and you should come out because every time you come out, especially on a weekend, if it's a big beer release, if it's a tap takeover like they did with Sweetwater last night, whatever it is, if you think that that's the only reason to go out, you're crazy. So we came out for the Hellboy release, which is being released in 24 minutes. People will start coming in to get that.
I'm number 5 in line.
But while we're here...
Are you?
Yeah, you gave me a ticket.
Yeah, but while we're here, there's this Miller's Pride barbecue sauce tasting, and he's got some pulled pork that he's showing off. We're going to talk about more in a bit. And there's also Bushido premium sake being tasted, which they have on tap, which I want to start there because I've never had sake on tap before. And the only reason I'm saying it the way I'm saying it is because that's the way I heard the guy say it.
No, so he was showing me there's a booklet on, and it gives... Is this it?
Sake Today magazine.
No, it's not sake.
Oh.
It's right here. Is this the booklet?
Yeah.
In here it tells you how to say it.
Oh, how to say
right here.
Sake. So I'm doing it right. Just because I was mimicking what I heard.
You don't say sake. You just say sake.
That's what I've been saying. Sake.
No, I was breaking it down.
I feel like you're...
Sakatuya.
Dude, will you listen to what I'm saying? I was breaking it down.
Break it down. So I've never had... And this, I found this interesting. Well, there's... That dude in 5 minutes blew my mind with information. One...
Turns out he made it all up.
Yeah, he's a complete
No,
lie.
I don't think
so. So, first off, I've not only, but I always preferred warm sake because I thought...
I think I've only ever had warm sake.
I've had it all kinds of ways, and I've told this story on the podcast before. Dwayne and I, one year at Wizard World, were going around, and these 2 independent comic artists had shot glasses for their comic, and they said it was a magic shot glass that never ended, and they were pouring us grape and raspberry sake all day. So we were drinking it, and they were keeping it chilled. But I had just assumed the reason you drink it warm is because it's traditionally done.
I thought it was like a tea thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but he said no. They drink it warm over here in the United States because that's the cheap stuff that they sell out of the things that they just sell a ton of all the time.
The last time I had sake, not this kind, but the last time I had sake was my 30th birthday. We went to Drunken Fish for my 30th.
That was a long time ago.
It was, the asshole. But I got wasted on it.
Yeah.
White girl wasted.
Yeah.
And I'm not
before that was a thing.
I'm not going to say that I'm never going to do warm sake again because I really enjoy it. But I will say this: I look at it different now. Like we were talking. I made the little anecdote that Missy and I know a dentist and super great family. Their daughter was in school with Kaylin. They're in their third generation in this building in Overland, and it's 100 years in the same dental office. And he works with a sake brewer that's in their 54th generation at 970
years.
Impossible. 900. Well, it's impossible to us because we're the United States and we're 200 plus years old.
It just blows my mind.
That's ridiculous.
So, since we're talking about this, let me tell you what it says on the can. The tasting notes. Tart raspberry, and that's what had me. I'm like, I could try this. Asian pear and watermelon rind with a hint of white flowers and a spicy finish. And I'll tell you, I don't know if I tasted any of that, but it was good.
I get the pear. I don't understand the watermelon at all.
It's very smooth. This is a sneaky drink. It's 18% ABV. It's brewed in Japan, so you guys already know how I feel about that. But
I think he's onto something though. Like, this 18% alcohol. He was telling us a story about how he was at South by Southwest, and the beer line was really long.
So they're chugging this stuff,
and people are buying, instead of buying like a $10 6% alcohol beer, they're buying this.
Say what it is too. 21-year-olds are buying this and chugging it to get themselves where they're going in a hurry.
And that makes sense. Like, my 21-year-old brain would be like,
I'm spending less, even though that's an expensive thing comparatively speaking. I'm
going to get there in 3.
So it's a small can, as you can see. Yeah. It's $6.
$6.18.
Do you guys want to start a sake business and just sell it at concerts?
But I feel like this would get you where you want to be. Yeah, for sure.
Right away.
So I want to read a little bit. He gave us this booklet. I want to read from it, too, a little bit. It says, as the first Japanese sake on tap, Bushido represents the endless possibilities of innovation in a category that is steeped in ancient history, thus the 54 generations. It says why Bushido stands out. Sake on tap is unique, consistent, cost-effective, and environmentally friendly. Each keg stays fresh for around 18 months untapped and 3 months tapped. Bushido is the code of honor, and I want to touch on that a little bit, and morals developed by the Japanese samurai. Traditional code stresses loyalty, self-discipline, bravery. It also righteousness, courage, benevolence, respect, integrity, honor, loyalty, and self-control. That's the 8 virtues of a Bushido. Bushido can be run through a standard beer tap line, making it a seamless addition to any restaurant or bar. They do say that its location is Kyoto Prefecture. I don't even know where it is. It's brought in through Sausalito, California is where they bring it in from. Bushido, the Way of the Warrior, which is what we're drinking, it's a Genshu-style sake. It's undiluted sake, like the flop said, 18% alcohol, and can stand up to a variety of food and be used in cocktails. So, and you talked
used in cocktails?
Yeah, with cocktail. I've never had a sake cocktail. You scared her. Missy thought she was dead.
Well, I scare easily, but
she does.
I have a question. So we drank that room temperature.
I wanted you to go boo.
We drank that room temperature.
Well, it was on tap, but he's had the tap out for a little bit.
So when it's on tap, it's cool.
It's because it comes through the beer line.
Okay, so I didn't know if that was different. Like I honestly did not know if you could have a tap that's not chilled.
And he said, I asked him if it was carbonated, and he said it's not carbonated. It just gets a little bit of a bubbliness coming.
There's
through the tap.
There's a spritz to it.
Yeah, a little spritz to the tap.
So what he told me was wine and any green vegetable does not go together. Did he tell you guys this?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. But this pairs perfectly with
he
green
said
vegetables because the acid, basically. There's no acid in this, but the wine has acid in it.
He said there were some 3-star restaurants in Chicago and in a award-winning restaurant here in St. Louis, a chef that serves sake with every round of vegetables in their meals they do.
Yeah.
So when you do a sake shot at a hibachi grill, because I always pass and you take it.
I do.
Is it warm, chilled, or room temperature?
Warm.
It's warm.
It is.
Warm.
So they're giving you the.
Even when they squirt it, it's just been left out in those bottles and warm.
I just assume
it's room temperature in those bottles.
But it's not the good. It's not good. Sake.
No, it's rail
Yeah,
sake.
and that's
such a thing.
To call it room temperature is a bit misleading too, because it's room temperature in a kitchen, so it's a little warmer. So, but I enjoy that too. I love when they squirt that in my mouth. I'm like, give it here.
Yeah.
And he just lets his mouth fill up, and y'all see how big his mouth is.
Missy just threw a y'all at us. She's from my hometown now, apparently.
Little southern draw coming out.
Yeah, but I highly recommend it, man. I tell you, like we said, it is a sneaky drink. You're not going to drink a ton of these little kids.
18% is
bring
a lot.
it. Just bring it. That's wine. That's wine quality. Out percentages.
It's going to get a little buzz out of two of those.
It definitely is bringing it. But the other thing we talked about a while ago too is one of the things, and like, even though they do have some great bourbons, and I may even pick one up to take home today, and some other alcohols, it's BeerSauce shop. So the name tells you right now their bread and butter is the beer, which is like the Hellboy beer, and this BeerSauce own bourbon barrel milk stout that I'm having.
Oh, it's really good.
And also sauces. And when we came in here today, there was like some kind of sports team. I didn't know what the jersey.
They were hockey.
Spirit,
It was kids hockey.
Oh,
it was like co-ed or something.
They were and there was like 6 or 7 of them. They were over there doing their own hot sauce challenge.
It was hilarious, yeah.
And that's what's great, because every sauce that's in here at one time or another throughout the week, you could taste it. I mean, they always open different stuff to taste, and there's also always different tasters. And there's just, you can't come in here from week to week and not find something new. We were talking, there's this habanero ketchup that we're going to take home I hate ketchup, and I ate the shit out of it with my fries.
It gives it just enough spice that I like it.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have me over later, and then we'll
how
have some
about this?
Hey,
you
big
can
shout
try
out to Kiefer, by the way. He's out of country, and he just said hi, guys.
Our first international reach out.
You tell Jeremy he has to try your pickle Oreo if you try the ketchup.
I feel like that's even on the same scale.
Good. The pickle Oreo is awful.
The pickle Oreo was delicious.
It was quite delicious.
I'm not eating 2 of them.
I'll try it. Next time we do it, I will try it.
All right, fine.
Next time.
Challenge
when
accepted.
are we ever going to have pickles and Oreos?
We're going to do it and we're going to make him taste this ketchup. That's what we're going to do next time. But anyway, but like that with all the sauces and stuff, you do get new, like, people coming in and sampling their sauces. And that's what happened today with the Miller's Pride that we have right here.
Which is, if you're local, straight out of Lake St. Louis.
It's, distilled Miller's Pride, Lake St. Louis.
If you're not from here, that's
not
okay.
in my backyard, but close enough.
He has it bottled at the Country Bob. You know what Country Bob sauce is? That guy does the bottling for him. He makes it, sends it to him, he bottles it.
So what he told me was, and I'm sure he told you guys the same thing, you do your pulled pork, you soak this in your pulled pork, and then you put it on nachos, but you got to do it with the smoky sweet. He said that's the way you
okay.
I bet that is good.
Ooh, I bet.
And then I was like, why isn't this here?
I actually
put some peppers on there.
We're a divided podcast, but it's 2-1 against me. Normally that would be Tom being the 2 with Missy, but this time you guys are fans of the original.
New alliance.
Yeah.
And I'm a smoky sweet fan. I love smoky stuff. Missy's not huge on smoky flavors.
Sometimes.
See, I liked it. What I liked about it is that it's not, the smoke isn't real heavy, because I hate like
it's
that
just the
artificial
perfect
smoke.
amount.
But I just think the original has a little bit of a spice to the end, like Misty was saying, that I really dug.
There's a kick at the end, and it just I think all the good flavors are in that one.
I think normally when you think original, it's going to be kind of bland, like ketchup, like the version, like the barbecue sauce, like just bland malls-ish type thing. But that original has a lot of flavor.
Kind of like if you remember the last time we were here, we did the Bloody Mary tasting. There was one that was just like ketchup.
I did not like it.
I did not either. Let me read with you on the bottle real quick. Established in 1998, Miller's Pride has been a family favorite since the late 50s. It started in the kitchen of Grandpa Miller, who came up with the recipe. And they are carrying on that tradition and hope you enjoy it as much as we have, which we did really. You didn't have to read that off there. We do enjoy it. You can go to www.millerspridebbq.com to learn more, or you can come to 318 Mid Rivers Mall Drive and to the BeerSauce shop and pick up your own. And here's something that we've talked about before on here with the guys. But they're hoping Tuesday, you'll be able to taste stuff like Miller's Pride or any other sauce you like on their own sandwiches. So they should be starting that Tuesday.
I'm pumped. I'm a sandwich guy. I love it.
I did, man.
I love pulled pork.
I think sandwiches may be my favorite restaurant thing. Like unique, like when you get like a unique restaurant that's only like, hey, there's this neighborhood in this big city that you've never been to, and it's very little known, but the line's going to be long, but their sandwiches are the best. That's my favorite thing.
Oh yeah, that's my thing. Like anything, I don't need a big steak meal or anything. I want your street food. I want your sandwiches, your tacos, whatever. I can eat 3 or 4 of them and then just roll.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I just burped, and it was mango weed.
Oh my God! So I'm drinking the 420 strain of Sweetwater's
Mango Kush style.
Mango Kush Kolsch.
Yeah,
it's a Kush Kolsch.
It's a Kush Kolsch.
Well, a couple of
Say
weeks
that 3 times.
Yeah.
Kush Kolsch.
A couple of weeks ago, I had the G13 strain of that.
Yeah.
And I think I only had 2 beers that night, but when I came home, I burped, and I was in my brother's room, and he was like, "It smells like meat in here." I'm like, "No, dude, that's 420 right
She
there."
was a synthesized pothead, a synthetic pothead, and I tell you that my problem with that one is that like I've said, if just the smell and the fact that it's liquid, I think, that's bong water. I can't do that.
No, I think I like the smell. I like the taste. I think it's a great.
I don't know if it was you that said this, but someone said that it tastes exactly like they want weed to because of the smell.
See, I said it because
you.
I love the way weed smells. I don't like being high because I'm bad at it. So this is the best of both worlds for me.
It's not your strong suit. It's not what it's
I have a question. What are you good at?
This
Drinking.
podcast.
I'm just kidding.
I'm good at podcasting, except for
comics.
reviewing comics.
I'm
I'm more of a color commentary guy.
Yeah, that's right. You're not a play-by-play man.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that you left me on the hook there.
That was my fault. That is 100% my fault. Maybe we'll do a double take. We'll just get together and redo the podcast part.
Lord.
Not true. We're rolling the dice. People are going to...
If you don't like it, skip the first 15 minutes.
And I got to tell you, selfishly, this is why I always run the podcast. We just saw what happened.
No. Let's be real. If you gave Bender a heads up,
then I was going to be in charge of the. Normally you do the summary, and I add color commentary.
Better. He was very distracted by people around him while he was doing it.
A guy walked in a poncho.
Yeah,
man.
that got him. I told you,
it was over.
Stumbled right out of the gate when that happened.
I'm having a conversation with this guy, and the whole time I'm like, why is he wearing this poncho?
So we should.
And now you know.
We should go back real quick, and we alluded to the poncho. That is the representative. That's Daryl, who represents Bushido Sake.
Super nice guy, but you can't stop thinking about the poncho.
Super smart too, man. Just a smart dude.
Or great at bullshitting.
But I mean, I buy it.
Aren't all salesmen bullshitters?
And he's been doing sake sales for 18 years, and
are all bullshitters salesmen?
Not true. Yeah, that's true. That's a good one.
No, Jeremy was a bullshitter way before he was a salesman.
I just backed into it. They're like, wow, this guy's so full of shit. Let's just make him in sales. Yeah. He's also been not just that. He's been selling wine for 31 years. Yeah.
Also, he's a 5th generation wine salesman.
Yeah.
I made that part up.
I said earlier, if I was more personable and more outgoing, I feel like I should be a rep for alcohol of some sort. But I hate people.
If I was smarter and more into math, I feel like I could be a doctor.
Is this a backhanded shot at me? What are you talking?
What math? I mean, is math
I feel
really
like you got to do
the doctor?
I think so. Like chemistry, math, you got to be along the lines of all that.
I feel just like
fine engineer.
Well, you have
biology and chemistry probably is more
math.
than
You have to know how much to cut. You can't cut too much.
You got to know the CCs.
You can learn. That's on the job training. That's on the job training.
He's essentially a CC knowledge away from being a doctor.
Yeah. I mean, I just could not get the CCs down.
Well, how about we let's go ahead and let's wrap up what we're talking about in terms of this little segment right here. Again, just for those that don't know, it's on tap here. It's Bushido Way of the Warrior. It's a Ginshu premium sake, brewed in Japan, brought over from Sausalito, California.
And they have cool hats.
Got a cool hat that they made just for the shop, he said. It's repped by Poncho Daryl, which is awesome. It's the best thing about it, baby. And then we also talked about the Miller's Pride, which is Lake St. Louis's own, bottled at Country Bob's. It's man, I tell you, I can't stress to you. If you want to do some barbecue this year and get you a better flavor than what you would just normally get from the grocery store barbecue sauce, this is it, man.
So this totally replaces the St. Louis's own malls.
Oh, St. Louis's own malls is like the natural light of barbecue sauces.
Yeah, but we didn't know any better
Natty
when we were
Light.
younger because that was all there was.
Natty
it was
Light,
just
you got to
mullet.
maul it. That's I feel like those are the two different.
That brings up an idea. I'll talk about it in a minute. Go ahead.
No, I'm done. I just wanted people to know that that's the two things going on. And some people watch this live, and you'll see this video keep post up as we're on. They'll be going on for probably another hour or two. I think they go to 4 o'clock, so you got 2 hours to come out and see this. And if you're listening to this after the fact, like when I post it tomorrow, the place
is still open.
They have plenty. Get here and try it.
This store has a little bit for everybody.
Not just guys, girls,
but
and
the
everything.
one thing that they are missing, which I'm not sure they actually have room for, is wine. There's no wine in here.
No. They did have wine for a little bit.
But I feel like if you're called a BeerSauce, whiskey is fine.
Well, I don't know that the wine ever took off.
Well, I feel like you have to have a very huge selection of wine for it to be
and
and I'll be honest with you, their deal is they like to do craft and local owned stuff. They try that, push that. Local made wine, with the exception of a couple, not that great.
Well, Missouri wine or Missouri grapes are disgusting.
Yeah, they're just so sweet, too sweet.
I don't like it.
Are we doing wine tonight instead of beer?
Are you guys snobby as shit now?
Yeah.
No, listen. Seriously, have you had Missouri wine?
Yeah.
And you like it?
That's fine.
John, seriously.
Try even a California wine or.
I've had wines.
Go Pancho Daryl and go get an Argentinian wine. What he reps.
European Standard is supposedly one of the best wines.
European?
Yeah.
I'm not, but European.
But that is supposed to be one of the better wines.
I do need to pee.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, that is. I mean, Europe. They do say that. Obviously French wines and Argentinian wines and all that.
I've grabbed a couple Argentinian wines.
You have Italian wines. I love California wines, and I was so happy to take Missy out there to get some.
And if this podcast goes nowhere, I just want it to be known that Missy has gotten super classy in the last 2 years.
She has evolved. Is there
Thank
one
you.
person on the podcast that's changed and evolved more than Missy?
No, I think I devolved, but
you're way worse now than when we started. I probably am too. We probably are more nerdy, more hard to deal with.
Look at this. Look at this sunflower that came out of her.
Certainly bigger. Yeah. We broke her out of her shell.
Yeah.
Now she likes red wines. I mean, what are we going to do?
Broke me out of my shell. When this shuts down, I'm going in the corner to not talk to anybody.
Well, just at least on camera and on recording, you're outgoing. Now, if we ever did a live show where we were on a stage, she would behind the
the flop would not exist.
The flop would literally flop down on a table behind, and she'd be done. Speaking of the flop, though, I figure, we're about 52 minutes into it. Let's go ahead.
We bullshitted enough.
We go ahead and throw it to Missy and see what happens here.
I actually did not bring anything.
Because it was a comic-based episode. I get it.
Turns out I'm the only one who brought something, and it was not very good, but
it was
okay.
half-assed, but...
It wasn't half-assed. It was stressful.
I do think the one thing I want to bring up is I feel like maybe if we can shoot for next week or the week after, do
an actual comic episode.
Do an actual comic episode.
I will have something. I have an idea for the next one.
So the next episode, or we were thinking about maybe even. So the next episode, I
you did that baseball thing. I'm out. I'm just telling you that.
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Well, so I'll do that with Tom only.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll do a special episode or something. But
that's cool.
My idea has to happen within the next.
Yeah, we need to do that next.
Something.
Okay.
So yeah.
Otherwise, my idea is out the door.
It's timely. It's topical.
Is it like spring?
It's more like March.
No, you don't.
It's March.
It's March.
And it's mad.
Shut up. You have to ruin everything.
That's a tease.
This is my thing.
That's a tease.
My thing.
I don't know anything
Jeremy's
else about it.
Jeremy's a stealer of secrets.
That's a tease. Is that not a good tease?
It's a good tease.
Yeah. In the business, we call that a tease.
I think it was a prelude because she did get mad.
There will be a upcoming here in the next. I don't remember when it is. It's like September, I think. There's going to be a special rock paper PC Bombcast crossover.
That's really?
Going to be because Shane and I are going together to go see the Black Keys with.
Why didn't you invite me?
Shane put it out to the world and said, "Anybody want to go?" And I put it on there. And
I didn't see that. I wanted. That's like my favorite band.
Well, then I'll have to bring it up to Shane and we'll figure it out.
First I've heard of this.
No, it's not.
I'm just kidding.
She's a liar.
I didn't see that, and I usually follow everything that you guys talk about.
Is it GA tickets? Because couldn't you just get one?
No,
or are they sold out?
It is not GA tickets.
Oh, it's not?
He got seats. And it's at it's not at a GA place. It's at the
Enterprise or whatever.
It's at Enterprise.
I was going to buy tickets last night, and then I saw it was on a Wednesday.
So that's Black Keys, Modest Mouse, and Repeat, and Shane knows.
I don't know Repeat.
Well, they're a local band that's
cool.
had moved off, and they're coming back, and he knows them, and he's going to try to get them on a podcast.
Or
and whether or not he does it, we're going to do a review, a Jeremy Shane concert review.
Yeah,
So,
I want to go to the Black Keys concert. I'll buy my own ticket if I
we'll
have to.
find someone, and we can hang out before and go to the concert and then hook up after, something like that.
I'll make the wife go with me.
Or as
It's a
Jeremy
weekday.
called him, Murder Mouse last night.
Murder
we were
Mouse.
watching the Good Life, and you know how
Oh, we better talk about that.
the you watched
The Good Place.
Good Place.
Good Place. I'm sorry, but you know how the Buddhist monk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he used to be a DJ.
Oh, no, I was
Yeah.
talking about Danger Mouse.
Oh, he's still a monk?
No, yeah, well,
No,
no,
we're
no,
only
no.
like
Four episodes.
Okay.
in.
But no,
so.
what
He's a
she's
great
referring
character.
to is the DJ Acid
Yeah.
Cat. And I go, oh, that's a play on Danger Mouse,
Yeah.
which is
And I was like, you mean Dead Mouse?
Dead Mouse.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's what it was. And Modest.
Danger
There's
Mouse
a lot of
is a
nieces in this
cartoon
conversation.
character.
So you are correct. You said that for a while that we should be watching that show. It's a great show.
Oh, it only gets better.
Hayden loves it.
it, but I think she loves it for the quote unquote.
She's
going
gonna
to
go around and say,
like,
"Fork
fork
you."
you.
Yeah.
What a
That's
binge.
good stuff.
And man, this is a bunch of bullshit and things like that.
Ted
So
Danson and Kristen Bell are national treasures.
they're great. And I tell you,
We are speaking of Ted Danson, we have been rewatching
Cheers. Yeah.
Oh, really?
So we're getting a
Does
book
it hold
into
up?
Ted. Yes, it's
Yeah,
great.
it's actually really
I
funny.
haven't gone back and rewatched.
So
it's
there-
not on syndication
I
anywhere.
guess some
it's on
peop-
Netflix.
Yeah, some people may think it doesn't hold up because of the sexism and things that happen, but it's comparatively speaking to like Friends and some other shows, it's way milder. Yes, Ted Danson or Sam is a womanizer, but
He's not
he's
like-
balanced between a really strong woman character and
Yeah, because
Diane.
what's her real
Shelley
name?
Long.
Yeah.
And
Who got killed off on Modern Family this year.
she did. Yeah, she died on Modern
Spoiler.
Family this year. But it's yes, you have to also understand some of the jokes are 80s jokes.
Yeah.
But it might be front to back still the greatest sitcom ever made for
I'm
everyone.
enjoying it more
Really?
than I
I
thought
think it's
would.
up there.
Huh.
I think it's
I'll
up.
have to give it a shot.
I think
It's-
everybody liked it.
So
at
we
the
were
time.
younger, obviously, when
Yeah,
it
I
came
was-
out.
I was a kid.
Yeah, and we were kids too, but you were much younger. And
Not
I
much. Like 4 years younger than you.
But I remember it being okay. But as I'm watching it as an adult, I really didn't think that I would enjoy it, but I am. And it's interesting to see, like, just the dynamic of the show. And we know what happens with, like, Coach and and Shelley Long and all that.
I don't know how the show kept going after Coach left. He's so good.
Yeah.
Those were big shoes to fill.
Ernie
and Woody
Pantuzzo
Harrelson
was his
did,
character's name?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson did great.
Yeah, can you think of a show that's replaced an iconic character with an iconic character? Because Woody was iconic.
Yeah.
Woody was a pop culture, really loved character.
See, now this is gonna. I only know Woody Harrelson in that.
oh, so
you
Coach
have
was
to-
before.
Like Coach, like
He
from
was-
the show Coach.
No.
So Woody was brought in because the for lack of a better, the buffoon character was
Like-
Coach. And
Like
he,
What- who
blonde-headed.
played that?
He was an old
it
dude.
was an older guy, and he died in real life on the third season.
See, I didn't know that.
And they
I've
bring
only
Woody
known
in-
this show since Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, and they bring Woody in and replace him, and it's seamless.
He has
Really?
a very similar
They're both-
goofiness, like
Yeah, they're dumb.
blonde-headedness.
They're both dumb.
But he's just a younger version of Coach. But the Coach character was in baseball with Ted Danson's character. Like they were
okay.
together
Coach,
in baseball.
Coach would do things like a recent episode we watched, and he goes, yeah, he was talking about, they were talking about toga parties or something like that, or like, he goes, oh, I've always loved being in underwear with other people. He goes, I can remember some of the best times I've ever had was me and a group of guys got together and we were in our underwear and we were throwing champagne because he was a coach of Sam.
Yeah.
He goes, we were throwing champagne and all over each other. He goes, it was the best time. And Sam walked by and he goes, that's because we won the pennant, Coach. Oh, right. Yeah, it's like, it's just stuff like that.
little things. Yeah, that's great.
So anyway,
that's good stuff. Good writing.
Now, give it a chance. You ought to check it out.
I will.
That's all we got. Melissa, there's no Tom, no Let's Go Blues.
I miss you, Tom.
But
I don't go first.
Tom,
Hold on to your
that's
butts.
right. I'm sorry. John.
Hold on to your butts.
Bye.
And now I'm going to play some music, and we are done. Thank you for everybody. Thanks to the BeerSauce Shop. Thanks to Gigantic Brewery. Thanks to the world. Thanks.